A very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV World Report. We have a whole lot lined up for you. Let's begin with our top story, and that is a South Korean court today approved an arrest warrant for President Yoon Suk Yeol, who has been impeached and suspended from power over his decision to impose martial law on the 3rd of December. Investigating authorities have said that the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials confirmed the Seoul Western District Court approved that very warrant. This is the first ever arrest warrant issued for an incumbent president in South Korea, according to local media. On Monday, South Korean investigators sought an arrest warrant for Mr. Yoon over this month's short-lived imposition of martial law. Yoon is facing a criminal investigation into possible insurrection charges. And switching tracks to news coming in from the United States, US officials have said that a Chinese state-sponsored hacker has broken into the US Treasury Department's systems, accessing employee workstations and some unclassified documents. The breach occurred in early of December and was made public in a letter penned by the Treasury Department to lawmakers, notifying them of the incident. The US agency characterized the breach as a major incident and said that it had been working with the FBI and other agencies to investigate the impact. A spokesman for the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. has reportedly said that the accusation is part of a smear attack and was made without any factual basis. And getting you news from Germany now, the German government has accused Elon Musk of trying to meddle in the country's election campaign with repeated endorsements of the far-right party AfD. It is indeed the case that Elon Musk is trying to influence the federal election, is what the government spokesperson Christian Hoffman had to say after Elon Musk put out that post on his social media site X that an opinion piece published at the weekend backing the anti-Muslim, anti-migration alternative for Deutschland. She said at a regular media briefing that Elon Musk had the right to freedom of speech, adding, after all, freedom of opinion also covers the greatest nonsense. Listen in.
In der Tat ist es so, dass Elon Musk versucht, durch seine Einlassung Einfluss auf die Bundestagswahl zu nehmen. Seine Meinung zu äußern steht ihm, wie gesagt, frei. Diese Meinung muss man jetzt nicht teilen. Ich glaube, es ist gut, grundsätzlich nochmal darauf hinzuweisen, dass hier eine Wahlempfehlung ausgesprochen wird für eine Partei, die vom Verfassungsschutz beobachtet wird, unter dem Verdacht, rechtsextremistisch zu sein und die bereits als in Teilen rechtsextremistisch erkannt worden ist.
And according to the US Army, a state funeral for former US President Jimmy Carter will be held at the Washington National Cathedral on the 9th of January. Carter died on Sunday at the age of 100. US President Joe Biden, who last year had said that Jimmy Carter had asked him to deliver his eulogy at his funeral, has directed that the 9th of January 2025 will be a national day of mourning for Carter throughout the United States. The official 6-day state funeral for Carter begins on Saturday as he remains remains travel by motorcade through his hometown of the Plains in Georgia. And this is in regard to a federal appeal. This is a federal appeals court on Monday upheld a $5 million verdict that E. Jean Carroll won against Donald Trump when a jury found that the United States president-elect liable for sexually abusing and later defaming the former magazine columnist. The decision was issued by a 3-judge panel of the 2nd U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan. The May 2023 verdict stemmed from an incident around 1996, backing all the way down to 1996 in Bergdorf Goodman department store dressing room in Manhattan, where Carroll said that Trump raped her, and an October 2022 Truth Social post where Trump denied those claims that were being made by Carroll as hoax. And staying with news of United States President-elect Donald Trump, who has endorsed Representative Mike Johnson to continue on in the role of House Speaker, just days before lawmakers are set to decide on who will hold which position. The House of Representatives is scheduled to vote on a speaker on Friday during the first day of the 119th congressional session. Johnson faces some opposition from within his own party after working with Democrats on a bipartisan funding plan earlier this month. Republicans have a slim majority in the House, giving Johnson little room for defectors. He is to remain in the role if that is possible, which he has held since October of last year. The United States on Monday announced nearly $6 billion in additional military and budget assistance, and this is for Ukraine, as President Joe Biden uses his final weeks in office to surge aid to Kiev before President-elect Donald Trump takes over as the president. Biden announced $2.5 billion in additional security assistance for Ukraine, and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said that the United States has made available $3.4 billion in additional budget aid to Ukraine, giving the war-torn country critical resources amid intensifying Russian attacks on Ukrainian civilians and infrastructure. This is an announcement that's been made by Joe Biden, including $1.25 billion in military aid drawn from U.S. stockpiles and a $1.22 billion Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative package. The final USAI package of Biden's time in office, under which the military equipment is procured from the defense industry or partners and rather than drawn from American stocks, meaning it can take months or even years to arrive on the battlefield. Russia and Ukraine have exchanged hundreds of prisoners of war in a deal brokered by the UAE. The Russian Defense Ministry has said that it had swapped 150 Ukrainian soldiers held captive for an equal number of Russian troops. And it's Ukrainian President Zelensky who said 189 Ukrainians had returned home. He added that those released included defenders of Azovstal as well as Mariupol. This is the nuclear power plant and the Snake Island. Security forces were seen removing part of a missile that was reportedly launched from Yemen and intercepted by Israel. Curious residents gathered to look as members of a special police unit took away the debris that had landed in a street in Beit Shemesh city, located about 30 kilometers from Jerusalem. Israel's military has said that it intercepted that missile fired towards the country by Yemen's Houthi rebels late on Monday. Military has confirmed that sirens were sounded across central Israel due to the possibility of failing shrapnel from the interception, and there were also no reports of injuries as far as Israel's rescue service is concerned. 17 men convicted in Pelico Moss rape trial have appealed a verdict. According to the prosecutor's office, all 51 men on trial were found guilty of rape or sexual assault when the trial concluded earlier this month. Pellico organized for more than 50 men to visit his house and rape his then-wife, Giselle Pellico, who he habitually drugged with a sedative over a period spanning nearly 10 years. And Ukrainian foreign minister has visited Damascus on the 30th of December. This is in regard to a delegation, marking the first official Ukrainian delegation to Syria in years. During the trip, he held talks with Syria's de facto leader, Ahmad al-Sharaa. The visit also follows the collapse of the Russia-backed regime of former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad on the 8th of this month amid a large-scale rebel offensive. This is the first visit of an official Ukrainian delegation to Syria in many years. It demonstrates our readiness to open a new chapter in bilateral relations with Syria, is what is being said by the foreign ministry. Listening.
Передати сирійському народові особисте послання від президента України Володимира Зеленського.
وأنا هنا لأنقل رسالة من فخامة رئيس جمهورية أوكرانيا ومني شخصيا.
А звучить воно дуже чітко. Ми з вами, ми готові допомагати сирійському народу, бо Україна зацікавлена у стабільній Сирії та розвитку взаємовигідної співпраці.
And South Korea has launched an emergency safety inspection. This inspection has taken care of the country's entire airline operations and a separate check of all Boeing 737 and 800s after 179 people died in that air crash involving an aircraft on Sunday. As shocked citizens began a second day of official mourning and flags flew at half-mast. The government said it would carry out the audit of all 101 of the aircrafts in the domestic operations, with the US investigators possibly including Boeing joining the inspection. Choi Sang-mok, who was appointed South Korea's president 2 days before the disaster, said an exhaustive inspection was essential to overall the aviation safety system and move towards a safer Republic of Korea.
그리고 더불어서 아까 B737-800 시리즈가 지금 이제 우리나라에 101대가 이제 운영이 되고 있습니다. 그래서 일단 B737-800에 대해서는 좀 우선적으로 좀 특별 점검을 좀 실시하는 방안을 지금 검토를 하고 있다는 말씀을 드립니다.